What is on top of the deck? What is on top of the deck? Oh, it's Lightning Helix! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Welcome to Hunt the Week.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the show. Welcome in, each and every one of you, please. Have a seat. It's time to relax, right? What a long week we've had. We've all played a lot of Magic. We've all lost at least a game, probably. At least most of us have. I can't imagine we've all gotten undefeated this week. I know I have been very defeated this week. In fact, it's a theme in my Dominaria United League. It's just, bad things, not great things. Not great things are going on, but it's fine. We're, as Chris York said, we're ready to be released from this league and from this set. And we're getting there. We got a lot to talk about this week. Got a big interview with a great player, an old school contender. Yes, this is Hunt the Week. It's a weekly podcast about the Magic Arena Sealed Gauntlet League. That's right. We said it right this time, and boy, are we proud of ourselves. So let's just start the show, right? We don't have too much to talk about. We got a big show. I got a long interview with a lot going on. So here's the kicker.
I'm the kicker. K-I-C-K-E-R.
That's right. It's the kicker. As I record, it is Wednesday at about 2 p.m., and this is your top 8. Ragu B, Midnight Falcon, 17-3. Jeremy E, Lurgoy, 15-5. Johnny M, Johnny, 14-6. Justin P, Code Pigeon, 14-6. Raphael F, 14-6. Jordan M, 14-6. That's JM Tron, and we got Prudent up there, Raphael. Chris P, Joker 01, 14-6. And Adam S, 13-6. Those people, those names, we keep saying at least the first 4 over and over again, but really, I think we're at that point where it's almost the same people. It's almost just the same people every week. Where are the new players at? New players, knock these guys down a peg, please. And don't forget that if you knock out Cody Race, he's going to buy your next league entry fee. That is correct. Now, that's only for new players. If you're a new player, please go after Cody. And if you're Cody, try to play new players when you get to your death match. It's coming up. I mean, no, it might not be super soon. You might outlast all the new players, Cody. You maybe just don't get eliminated at all. Maybe that's how it is. I don't know. How am I doing? Not good. This week, I only played people who had been on the podcast this week. That's kind of how it worked. I played Ryan D again. He beat me again. I invoked my rule of, you've beaten me twice this league. I'm not going to play you again. Sorry, Ryan. You're great. I love playing against you. But I got a rule. And I got to stand by that rule. Otherwise, what is the rule for? Then played Chris York. Got to eliminate Chris York. Always a sad time to see Chris York go. But like he said, he didn't feel like he was knocked out so much as he was released. So we set you free, Chris. And then we played John R. And we had some great games against John R. But he's got 2 of those dumb Archangels, and he played them back to back, and blah, blah, blah. He was good. His deck was good. He beat me pretty good, and that was all I played. I only played 3 games this week because I am at elimination time. So I went 1 and 2. I went from 7-3 in my first 2 weeks to 1-7 in my next 2 weeks. It doesn't feel great. Don't like my deck. Don't like the cards I have. Not really into the shuffler's broken again. My shuffler is crazy broken. Terrible hands. I'm just mulliganing constantly. My shuffler is just broke. I can't help it. I got a ticket in with Wizards to try to fix my shuffler. I know everyone else's is working fine, but there's something wrong with mine. So I'm going to bubble that up tomorrow, right? He could probably take care of that for me. And I'm at the point now where my next loss, it's an elimination. And this is what I like to do. You beat Goku, you come on the podcast. You eliminate me, you get to come on. You're the guest next week. Not scheduling a guest for next week. Someone has to knock me out. Hopefully I don't go 5-0, because then I'm going to have to panic and figure out who's going to come on the show. But that's not going to happen. My deck's not good. You're going to beat me. So yeah, don't DM me to try and set this up. I'm just going to use the channels and see who's online when I am and see what happens. My only stipulation is, you can't have been on the show already. It has to be a new person on the show. Other than that, I don't care. You can be ranked first place. I don't care. I'll play you. I'll play anybody. I mean, I got 10 packs in this thing. It's still bad. It's still so bad. Oh. Well, we have gone into week 4, and I'm getting there myself. I'm close to elimination, so let's say goodbye to a couple people who have left our side.
The way of the samurai is found in death. Meditation on inevitable death should be performed daily. Every day when one's body and mind are at peace, one should meditate upon being ripped apart by arrows, rifles, spears, and swords, being carried away by surging waves, being thrown into the midst of a great fire, being struck by lightning. This is the substance of the way of the samurai.
That's right. It's that time of the league. It's that time of the show. These are the names of players that we've lost, people that have been eliminated. Nicholas K., Bio Nick. Joel L., Instinctive. Brian R., Admiral Ace. Lot P., Lot. Mads B., MBB. Kevin I., KNI 1993. Kevin C., Kevin. Noel S., Stopgap. Big fan, Noel. Sorry to see you go. Chris Y., York on Games. You are free. Damien S., Buttcrack Magic. That is not a name you want to see this far down on the list, right? I'm with you, Damien, though. I don't know what's going on in this league, but not my league, not Damien's league either. Sylvan T., Aquitos. Mike P., Unwieldy Biscuit. Mike R., Trescio. Devin L., Dalapi. Matt T., Malakari. John K., XXEXR, XX. Erickson L., Demi. Doug Co., Decarius. Aid A., Blizz. Matt J., Jagster. John L., Fight Strife. Ahu S., Willie Bandar. Brent S., 0XD520. John B., Vexing Carton. And Milan G., No Turn Unstoned. Gone but not forgotten. I hope you guys are going to be in the next league. We got Set Wars coming up. I got Johnny posting some kind of weird side quest mini league that has to do with Ravnica Allegiance and pick your house. Do that. It's going to be free. Please, I signed up. You should sign up too. Sign up for the side quest. I love the side quests. I missed the drafts that Spaghetti Mitch used to do. I somehow always miss doing drafts with people in the league. I need to get back into that. I'm usually free Mondays. I don't know why I don't do it. But yeah, please look at the side quest chats. Look at the side quest tabs. Look at the quest announcements. Try and figure out what's going on and get in there. Because if you're knocked out, there's always something else to do. And I'll be knocked out soon myself. So I'll be joining you guys, Ravnica Allegiance, and then the Set Wars as we get ready. Well, this week, I had to sit down with someone I've been meaning to get on the show for a while. Someone who was a pleasure and a joy to talk to. That's right. This week, please join me while we enlist.
So we're all dog faces. We're all very, very different. But there is one thing that we all have in common. We were all stupid enough to enlist in the Army.
Yes, I enlist Jeremy E. Lorgoif. He's a pillar of the league, been in the league a long time, great player, great contender, and I learned a lot about talking to Jeremy. Had a joy talking to him. Can't wait to get him on again because he just has so many stories. And that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here for the stories. I'm here for the drama and the history. So please join me in my interview with Jeremy E. Lorgoif. All right, everyone, join me as I enlist none other than Jeremy. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me on, John.
Hey, thanks for coming on. So I got to start off. I ask everybody, I got to ask you, and I know this is going to be, you're going back. So Jeremy, when did you start playing Magic?
Okay, well, first of all, I apologize in advance for some Abe Simpson style long rambling answers, but I'm basically a Magic grandpa at this point. Thankfully, not a real grandpa yet. So I started playing Magic in 1995.
Oof.
The current set, the brand new set, was Fallen Empires. And I gotta say, it's been all improvement since then. It makes me appreciate, when people moan and complain about some, new Magic set being crappy in some dimension. It's like, well, should have tried playing in Fallen Empires. Yeah, so Fallen Empires and revised. I played over at a friend's house and was like immediately hooked, and spent way too much of my my teenage non-disposable, my no income on Magic cards. And it was I've pretty much played continuously ever since. A lot of people,
You didn't take that break.
No, I'd say the only real time would be like Lorwyn era. I didn't really draft much there, but I think I've drafted every set from Ice Age onward.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just like constant. I don't know how I've kept up with it through moving and everything, but it's been a long journey.
Do you still have those old cards? I'm always curious because everyone takes a break.
I know. Unfortunately, like I had a bunch of dual lands, and I moved out to Seattle 16 years ago for work.
Awesome.
I'm originally from Toronto. And
you are a Canadian. I was like, I don't know if he's a Canadian or not.
Yeah, the league forum asks, what's your local store? And I'm gonna have to start lying, I think, because like I see that USA next to my name, and
oh no, 14 years. You're one of us now. Come on, we need the help.
Yeah, I know, and my kids are all American and all that. But yeah, I still think of the Canada as the motherland. Blood runs with Tim Hortons and all that good stuff.
Are you a big fan of that maple syrup?
That's right.
And hockey, another.
Yeah. I got Seattle Kraken season tickets out here. So yeah, still running the hockey too. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of old cards, but I sold most of them to a friend when I moved out here. So I'm like, I don't want to lug all these cards. And I must have had like 20, 30 dual lands, and I just like smacked myself now. I was like, man, that's a lot of money I left back in Toronto. Anyway, it's been a long journey. The first Pro Tour was a little bit after I started, and that really kind of got the competitive fires going at a relatively young age.
Predate Pro Tours, Jeremy.
I do, exactly. Yeah, and so, I'm sure some of the newer players probably, what's a Pro Tour?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know what it's called today. It was Mythic Championship. Now it's like Arena Premium Edition, something or other.
I can't follow. Who knows?
I'm not a big fan of Wizards organized play decisions, but hey, that's a whole nother podcast.
That's not what we're here to talk about. This is a positive show.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I the early Pro Tours got me kind of into it. I had a friend who was really into it as well. Started going to the local stores, went in a few local card tournaments, and then through college I became kind of a PTQ grinder type thing.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
He's being the, qualifier tournament for Pro Tours for the younger viewers, listeners. And I had a really good crew in college I played with. And, so that really got me even more into competitive Magic.
Right.
Let me know if I'm rambling too much. As I said, I warned you, Abe Simpson. And then I made my first Pro Tour for Mercadian Masks.
You Pro Toured?
Oh yeah,
I had no idea, Jeremy.
I have been to 5 Pro Tours.
Oh my gosh, that's what I did not know.
So I got stories for days, man. So I gotta try to pick and choose. So this isn't a 3-hour podcast.
Hey, if nothing else, it's good reason to get you back on because there's gonna be some stories here. That's great.
There could be a part 2. But my first Pro Tour was Mercadian Masks Limited with Rebels and Mercenaries. And it was on the Queen Mary, the boat out in Long Beach in LA. And if anyone knows their Pro Tour history, if anyone's heard of Mike Long, he was kind of an infamous cheater, one of the early villains in the competitive Magic. And this was the Pro Tour where there was a card Howling Wolves, which is kind of like a card in my deck. It basically searches up copies of itself.
Sure.
Sort of like my good old Defender deck, which good little segue coming up.
We'll get there.
Yeah, but he had this cheat shuffle, and the judges couldn't figure out how he was cheating. But they basically like the whole tournament was watching him play, and it was a fun little introduction to Pro Tour Magic, to high level Magic.
Wow.
And from there, I played in 3 team Pro Tours where my team carried me. So I'm hoping to do that again coming up for Set
no, your
Wars,
team
where,
coming up is almost unfair. I'll say it right now. That
I
team's
know,
an unfair team.
I reached out to Johnny because we played we played the last team tournament together. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we should play again together. Like, who do you have in mind for teammates? Like, oh, we should try Caleb and Maxime. And then he reaches out and they're all down with that. And,
Ugh.
yeah, we're gonna get nerfed. We got to start with 6 cards. We got a mulligan or something like that.
When Johnny announced who was on his team, my heart sank, and I was like, "Well, there's the number 1 or number 2 team right there."
I don't know. We're definitely setting ourselves up with high expectations. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I love Team Magic. I could definitely go into that a bit later too. But yeah, we went to 3 team pro tours. We went to Boston, where we finished 24th. Very respectable. And then the other 2 were Seattle, actually, before I moved out to Seattle, and then Atlanta. And then I qualified for one more pro tour right before I met my now wife, which was in Honolulu. So I got to take her to Hawaii on Wizards.
Oh my gosh,
man,
what a
impressive for and I'm sure that's why she married me. It's like, oh, this Magic superstar, he's got to be worth something.
Yeah, he's gonna take me places. We're going to Hawaii.
That's right. But yeah, and then so that was, unfortunately, I talk about these glory days, but they were all almost 20 years ago. So my last pro tour was in 2006. So I'm going back a ways, and yeah, since I moved to Seattle, and I've got 4 kids, and so it's mostly pre-releases, and I'm glad I found this arena league because it's a great way to stoke the competitive fires. And
isn't it? It's the best, man. I love this thing.
I love it too. Yeah, I joined this league in that Zendikar set called again, Zendikar Rising.
Oh, how'd you find out about the league? Just random Reddit?
Yeah, for me it was a Reddit post. Yeah. It must have been what I see them now and upvote them and all that and try to chime in. But I just happened to see it there, and it would have been September 2020. Yeah, so almost exactly 2 years ago. And it was perfect. So it's like pandemic and everything. Can't go out to pre-releases and all that because they're not running. And decided to try it out and did really well. My first one, I think I finished top of the Swiss and bombed out in the mega draft, which is unfortunately a pattern of mine. But I was hooked because winning is certainly addictive too. But yeah, just finding the community and I love the Montreal sense of humor. Got it.
Yes, I bet you love because you're not even attached to any of the Canadians, right? So like,
no. I know there's some that are from Toronto. I think like Caleb and a couple others I know from there, and I'm sure there's more than that.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't really have connections with that community anymore. It's just I haven't lived out there in a while. But I've got old friends who I think still dabble, but we've all become old senior citizens now. So it's, once you add kids to the equation, stuff like Arena and this Discord league really they really fit the bill for limited time available.
You're in Seattle. Do you ever go to Card Kingdom or get to play at Card Kingdom?
I sure do. Yeah, there's
that's
one
awesome.
on the east side, which is near where I used to live. I actually just moved even further away, but I've been to the downtown Seattle one as well, or the.
That's so cool. I played at I was in San Diego for a week for work, and I got to play at their Channel Fireball store.
Oh, nice.
It's around there. Like I played there like every day for a week and just drafted at night. And it was so cool to go to like a big store like that.
Yeah, and just really professional. Like my experience with, I remember back in Toronto, my local store, you'd be like lucky to find a table. You'd be playing all sorts of odd places crammed in a corner, and it was fun for when I was a young guy, but having the professional, really nice store, and you can go over and get a beer at the restaurant attached, and it's nice. It's nice that gaming culture has grown up, as it were.
Yeah, it really is. It really is nice. Well, we gotta go. We gotta talk about the current. What's going on now, Jeremy? A lot of the past. We got to talk about Jeremy 14-4, disgusting record. Second place at the moment. Your deck, the pack gods have smiled upon you.
I was complaining about the pack gods for a couple of leagues where I was like, really, this is what I'm getting? And I actually thought, because I was sitting in the starting pools opener event there.
Yeah.
That people talk about it. And I think they actually trash talk, because all you see is the rares when you're cracking pools. Nobody digs in really deep. And so I think, if I remember right, my rares of note were Defiler of Faith, which, fine.
Fine.
And what's that other one? Drag to the Bottom.
That's good.
Which is, also good, but then and kind of 4 blanks after that. And it's like, oh, well, Jeremy's got his work cut out for him. And I'm like, oh, geez, here we go again. And I open it and see the 2 shield wall sentinels and the wingmantle chaplain. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, because I, not played a ton of Dominaria Limited at that point, but enough to know, like, okay, yeah, I hear this chaplain thing's really, I hadn't drafted it yet myself, but I'm like, yeah, I hear this is a thing. So let's see where this heads. And, it's a little bit of an awkward mana base to start, as week 1 decks usually are.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, this is playing well. And then I just really lucked out on the punish packs. Like there was one that had another chaplain and a Sheoldred, and then somebody else opened me yet another chaplain. And the only one that was like kind of nearly a miss, actually, it turned out to be quite nice too, because it was like a second Urborg repossession and a gibbering barricade, which has really kind of just tied it together.
That's so disgusting.
A couple of cult conscripts too, to be good food for all this nonsense. And yeah, it plays like a dream. Although it's definitely grindy and kind of grinds out my opponent's will to live, has been my experience so far.
It's funny coming in. I think people were saying defenders wasn't really an archetype you could really do in the league.
Right.
They're like, yeah, it's a good archetype in draft, but it's in sealed. Like, how you gonna make that work? Well, you get 3 chaplains and a couple of repossessions, and you're just
those shield wall sentinels are effectively read like 4 mana 1/3 draw at least 2 cards. And early on it was kind of a debate whether the sentinel should go fetch a chaplain or the second sentinel, but now I've discovered the play pattern of like almost always get another copy unless there's some really strong reason that I need flyers right now,
right?
Just because I want them in the graveyard to repossession again and get more chaplains.
and it's like your opponent sees it coming too, and they're like, you don't want to use removal on your 1/3 defender, to stop you from getting a bird.
They're just tied to the train tracks and see the slow moving train coming, but nothing you can do.
And you got the Sheoldred too. Your deck is just like strong mythic, strongest uncommon, and then repossession, another super strong uncommon. I guess it's a common. So strong down the line, Jeremy. It's all for you.
Yeah, it's got 3 Phyrexian Ragers for the nice meat and potatoes, to also the boat Golden Argosy.
Oh, I didn't know you had the boat with the chaplains.
Yeah, that's been good a few times. Yeah, and in a pinch, Rager getting on the boat is pretty good too, over and over.
Yeah, drawing an extra card. When drawing an extra card a turn is like the downs, like the bad choice, it's like you're doing fine.
And it's been playing quite well. I had a kind of a tough week 2 where I think I went 2 and 3, but then it was after the 5-0 week 1, it was 4-1 week 3, and 3-0 so far this week. So
the deck's looking good. You're in a strong position to make top 8 and make another mega draft.
I'm hoping. It'll be number 6 for me.
Number 6.
Top 8. Not too bad. I need that gold or the orange jacket though. See if
I would say you haven't won one yet, huh?
No, still a bridesmaid.
Well, I'll be rooting for you, Jeremy, if you get there.
Thank you.
I like rooting for the people that get there a bunch of times and haven't made it happen yet. I want to see them win. I want to see you get over that hurdle. All right. I want to see your emote. I'm sure you got one picked out, a little dinosaur or something.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know if you knew Francesco, who has the Francesco.
I do.
He stole my fun. He stole my thunder there, picking a dino for his emote. Like, that's my nickname at work too, is Dino. Even though I think my age gap between work is smaller than the average league participant here, probably. But.
Yeah, I assume everyone here is in their low 20s. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I assume.
Yeah, that's what I assume too. It's actually just a quick aside. It's funny because like when I first started playing Magic, it felt like the average age was like 16, like really young. But it feels like that average age has kind of moved up in Magic over the years, where certainly young kids still play, but I think a lot of people my age kind of grew up with the game, and so that kind of just nudged the average age up into the 20s at the very least. But good times.
Well, I doubt a lot of people your age have gone to 5 pro tours, Jeremy. Jeez,
not bad.
Not bad. Again, I'm sorry I didn't know that. I wish I would have known that. I would have asked you some more questions about it. I feel like my research team failed me on that.
Oh, no problem. I can riff on any of those fun experiences. Or I had a fun story where I got a match loss at Canadian Nationals for having a penny in my sleeve.
Whoa, I got to hear about that.
Yeah, I'll tell the short version, but I actually found it on the Wayback Machine on the internet, so I can share it later.
Oh, it was like a real thing.
A real thing. Yeah,
break
it was
the
like
news.
my deck was just in my bag, and I guess it was loose enough that like some change rattled around and got into one of the sleeves. And I go and shuffle up, and I win game one, and my opponent's shuffling my deck at what you do at the high comp events.
Yeah.
And he stops for a second, and he's like, "I got to call a judge." And I didn't even know it was wrong. I just thought like, oh, I got like a marked sleeve or something, which that's what it was. And they come back, and it was in a sleeve that had Nantucket Shade, which was like a very good creature for back then. 2/1 pumper. And so it's like one of the best cards in my deck. So it looks even worse. Just a penny. And it's like this very clear penny. In fact, I don't know how I didn't notice it. And the head judge comes back and holds out the deck like, I like to think if you were going to cheat, you wouldn't be this stupid. So I'm going to believe this was an accident, but I still got to give you a match loss. And then, I just tanked the rest of day one, but had a great, which was constructed, which has never been my forte. And then day two was limited. And this was in the early days of Magic Online, or Moto as we called it back then. And I'd got a lot of reps in on the draft format. So I actually just like rocked the draft format, had this kind of triumphant return, but not enough to top 8 or anything. But yeah, penny in the sleeve.
Penny. I've heard of penny sleeves, but this is ridiculous, right?
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about Domu. What do you think about the Domu experience? You're doing great. You're slamming your opponents, as you meet them. It sounds like you've got some more drafts under your belt, Jeremy. What do you think of Domu as a whole?
So I definitely like it overall. It's funny though, because like outside the league, I've actually struggled more with this one than normal. Like I'm a big fan of 17 lands as the tracker. And I think my overall draft win rate on Arena through 17 lands is like 64%, something like that. So pretty good.
That's pretty good.
But for Dominaria, it's been like 55 or something like that. Like I just have so many of these 2/3, 3/3, 4/3 decks where I just like not quite making it happen. But it's improved. I think it was even lower than that, and so now it's on the upswing. So I feel it's finally starting to tick for me, the format. But yeah, it was hard to get a feel. But overall, I think I'm still a fan. I like kind of more open-ended draft formats where it's not just like, here are the 3 archetypes, pick one of them.
Get brokers or stop,
Yeah, and it's a fine line, because some of the ones that don't have the strict archetypes can feel like everything's just this like 3, 4, or 5 color soup. And that is a deck, but it's nice that there are other decks. Like it feels like there's a few different ways you can go, and the format seems to have a decent amount of legs for replayability, which is nice.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. They got some good mechanics. Like you're always gonna like a kicker mechanic, I find.
And I like the way that kicker and domain interplay is very nice, and that you can have a more focused deck, but then you cheat with a few of the dual lands for some of the kicker. Like I think I posted a blue white it was a 2-color deck, blue white, but had all the random lands for the off color kicker, like the Angel, which I think I saw you just face, and the Mind Slinger. But yeah, we were using 2 meteorites, and it's like a card which I originally thought was that's okay, and then of course everybody gets caught up in the 17 lands data and the general online mockery of meteorite, and then it's like, well, maybe it's a hidden gem in the right deck. I don't think
it's that bad. I don't think it hits a lot of stuff for 2. The 2 damage will hit a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I've sided it in before too.
I have too
in league, because it's like if they're big green, it's like, okay, it's not usually very good, but like the blue red Flyers deck, it's just a ton of 2 toughness creatures. And it's like, well, if you can get a little value out of your mana rock, then why, especially if you can actually use the slash mana, then I'm a fan.
I agree. I think there's a lot of hate on Meteorite. I know Richard himself said it was a terrible card. Richard, don't mean to call you out, but I think it's better than people think it is. I think it is somewhat playable, especially in these, domain, or you need the mana for something. Like 2 hits a lot of stuff. If you kill something with it, you feel good.
And I don't know if I just haven't seen as much aggro lately, but I feel like there are formats where like taking a turn off to like play a 5 mana shock would really punish you. But
Yeah.
I feel like this is not really that format where there's a lot of mid-rangey where you can, it's who's squeezing the most value out of their cards.
Yeah. This is slow city. Even the aggro decks that I haven't even seen a super aggressive deck yet. I'm sure they're out there. But everyone's playing, 2 to 5 colors basically, it seems.
Right. Yeah, if you're aggro in this format, I hope you like a Legion of Birds, basically. Is
yeah, right. Great.
What it comes down to.
Yeah, hope you can deal with 10 flying birds, and he's gonna make more. He's gonna get them back. He's gonna get life at the same time.
Yeah, 2 life from repossession, really.
Oh, and here's Shieldred, just to just for fun,
just to really demoralize you.
Well, you've been in the league a while, it sounds like, Jeremy, and it sounds like you know a lot about Magic. You know a lot about communities. You know a lot about, I don't know, disqualifications. If there's one thing that you could change about the league, positive, negative, and swing for the fences. Everyone's been so safe on these. I want to get some drama going. What if you could change one thing? What would it be?
So I appreciate you sent me the questions in advance. This one I really struggled on because it's funny because when I first joined the league, I had a ton of ideas for the league. Sure. And I think that's pretty common for the newer league covers. It's like, oh man, I have all these ideas to make it better. But the longer I played, it's like, I got to give some credit to Chris York and the current league committee of like a lot of it just strikes this perfect balance where it kind of creates the environment that it's competitive but still casual.
Yeah.
Like as a thought experiment, I like to say to people like, what if you multiplied all the prizes by 100 or something like that? Like instead of paying out like top out, say $100 store credit, if it was $10,000 store credit, it's like, or $10,000 say, it's like, well, that would definitely change how people would play. And I feel like mostly for the worst, like it would be where like you'd get crazy amounts of angle shooting and scouting, maybe colluding. And so you get this whole host of issues that are just not fun. As much fun as it is to play for real stakes, like, hello Wizards, if you're listening, please improve organized play to give us something to shoot for. But at this level, I think for this league, it's just struck this perfect balance of you get some awesome Magic players, great competitors, really high level of play. Lots of people who are, getting day 2 in the Arena Open and all this other stuff. But there's like a minimum of this like nasty cheaty behavior where people are doing kind of nefarious things. Like, if I had to pick one, it's like I'm personally not a big fan of angle shooting and that sort of thing. And especially like for me, and this is more about my stage of life, but like Magic is kind of my way to relax a bit. I still want to play competitive because it's just in my DNA, but like, people are all about like, oh, well, if I don't know if you've scouted my deck yet. Like, no, I really haven't, man. Like to me, it's like, I
hate deck scouting. I'm really not a fan.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like, if it's fun for other people, that's cool. But like for me, with like 4 kids and a busy life, it's like, more power to you. But I'm just gonna turn cards sideways until you're dead, hopefully.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's probably the angle shooting. But honestly, I don't feel like it's that bad in our league. I think
I don't think so.
People are super respectful. There's people are supportive, and I love that the feeling of being on stream and just getting to chat with your opponent. It really takes away that arena slot machine feel, which I think gets all of us down when you play it too much. It feels much more like, hey, you're at the actually at the table with the person, getting to know people, and not Reaper 420 or whatever online.
I agree, man. It's so nice to talk to your opponent. It gives it a human element, and it makes the table talk. I always like a little trash talk. I always say that, I like a little trash talk too.
Totally.
I like all that stuff, man. It's so fun. And you don't get that if you're not getting in the chat rooms and asking your opponent to get in there with you. Like, it really is a nice, fun thing to do.
Exactly. I agree. And sorry, it's not that satisfying an answer, but I actually think the league's in a good spot. And I love that we're willing to try some stuff out, even stuff that fails or even partially fails. Like, I love that we're just trying to push the envelope, trying different, variants on things, weird, crazy, extra cards added to packs and different rules variants, but returning to some more vanilla ones like Dominaria. I feel like a league's in a good place.
Yeah, it's a big tip of my cap to everyone in the committee that goes through all the ideas and then managing the power levels of these things. I'm sure that takes some like I think doing a podcast takes time. That takes, I'm sure, way more time than
Yeah.
anybody really wants to give up, right? Like I'm sure it takes a lot of
Definitely.
time
Yeah.
to do that stuff.
Yeah, I was a former league committee member, and unfortunately, I just the time was getting to be a bit much for me. But I definitely can appreciate a bit from the inside. I think it's only improved too. So yeah, definitely, I echo that hat tip to league committee.
Tip of the cap to you.
That's right. No wags of the finger.
All right, Jeremy. Well, I gotta ask you, and this, you're going back. You did 5 pro tours, man. That's a lot. What is your greatest Magic accomplishment?
Oh man, I think it's probably that team season where we drove down from Toronto to Grand Prix Pittsburgh. This was in Onslaught block. I think the full block was out by then, back when we had blocks.
I miss blocks. Don't you miss blocks?
I do kind of. I don't know. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
It's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I miss
but anyway, so we drive down to Pittsburgh. It's like an 8-hour drive, I think, from Toronto, if I remember right. And we played a bit of Team Sealed at pre-releases. They had like a Team Sealed event at our local pre-releases, which was fun.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know Team Sealed, because I don't know that they even still run it, if you basically open it's not quite a triple pool, but it's like a 2.5 size pool, and you make 3 40 card decks out of it, and then you play 3 simultaneous best 2 out of 3 matches with your opponents, and you designate people A, B, C. I was the anchor, the B in the center, and it's best 2 out of 3 matches. So whoever wins 2 matches gets the win. And so you're still playing 1v1 limited. But you're getting to build together as a team. You have to figure out how to allocate cards because everyone gets their own sideboard separately as well, and not very much time. So you got to do all that. That deck building is hard, and then you don't get to help each other. At least you didn't back then. I don't.
Oh,
know
really?
If this format actually still exists. Yeah, it was all like it was all just one-on-one, and you weren't supposed to give each other tips or anything like that. I hope they've changed that, because that part actually wasn't that great, but. Anyway, just getting to play with your friends was great. So at Grand Prix Pittsburgh, I only went, I think, 4-4 day 1 for the 8 rounds, and yet we made day 2 because my teammates won every single match. So they were just carrying my
the anchor. They're carrying my anchor with their strong arms.
That's right. And then day 2 was actually Rochester draft. Which is where each pack gets drafted face up on the table.
Oh my
and
gosh.
in a team setting, it's so cool. And this, again, you weren't allowed to talk, so you have to use signals, like hand signals and stuff like that. So you're like pointing to the back of the Magic card, like, hey, I'm in blue black, like pointing at the little pentagram thing. And so you're doing all this.
Weird.
Yeah, it was really different. And the eventual winners, we played first round on day 2. And they almost got a match loss because they slept in and didn't show up on time. It was a gang from Florida. But Antonio DeRosa wasn't on the team, but he's like kind of an older, well-known pro, and people still know him. But he would basically have to run to the hotel room, drag them out, and they made it just like with seconds to spare. And they end up, of course, beating us and winning the round, but we ended up finishing 8th at that, which was enough for a Pro Tour invite because top 4 got invited, but if you were already qualified, it passed down. So it passed down to us at 8th. And from there, we went to Pro Tour Boston, where we also drove out from Toronto. It's lucky these were all somewhat local. And we made day 2 in that, and ended up doing reasonably well on day 2 and like just out of the money. Unfortunately, top 20 got money, and we missed the money with tiebreakers. But it was an awesome experience, just that whole season. And
yeah,
we were ranked like number 30th in the world in Team Limited, because they had separate ratings back then for Team Limited. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was great times. And like, success in Magic is good fun, but getting to do it alongside your buddies is it's awesome. I definitely look back fondly at those days. And then, just on our rating, we got to 2 more Team Pro Tours. We didn't do as well, but it was a great ride.
I've done a couple of Team Sealed GPs, and these days you do get to talk, and you do get to show each other your hand and stuff.
Oh,
And
that's much better.
They're super fun. They are great.
Because these days I do the Two-Headed Giant pre-release with a buddy here. Pretty much, we had a bit of a lull during pandemic, of course, but we're doing them again. And yeah, I mean, that's great where you get to talk, and Two-Headed Giant's a lot of fun too. Just the different rules there, and you search for those hidden gems, not so hidden anymore because everyone knows about it, but the all opponents cards, ones where it's like
the Grey Merchant of Asphodel, trade them both out.
Yeah, exactly. I think we even had a combo deck once with Panharmonicon around artifacts entering play. I think. Anyway, so I have no end of stories, but I'll in the interest of time, I'll save some for a future part 2. But yeah,
we'll have to get you back on.
Thanks, man.
I gotta hear more. And so normally I say, hey, don't win because I just had you on. So if you end up winning this whole thing, I got to bring on the winner. But Jeremy, go win this whole thing so I can bring you back on after you win Mega Draft, and we can talk more Pro Tour stuff. Very exciting.
I'm gonna do it for you, John.
Yeah, do it for Goku, please. He needs something going on after the week he had last week.
Exactly.
Well, Jeremy. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, really great chatting with you. Really appreciate you give me a platform to tell my old Grandpa Simpson stories.
Hey, I'm sure that there's a lot of people in the league like me that had no idea you had this kind of history. I know you've been playing a long time. But I didn't know at what kind of level, right? So I'm actually very excited. I learned so much about you, Jeremy. I hope other people are enjoying learning about you and the other people in the league that I get to come on. And now know that if you play Jeremy, you're playing a 5-time Pro Tour Magic player. All right, get scared of this guy, and not even his deck, just the person. Oh my gosh! And then look at the deck, and then just say no, Jeremy. Go play somebody else, please.
It's like the old samurai movie where it's the guy with the shawl and everything, and it whips it off and starts doing kung fu.
Yeah, that's you. Then the birds start coming in. Then the birds.
That's right.
Thanks so much for coming on the show, Jeremy. I wish you luck out there, though. Honestly, I don't think you even need it. You're doing great. Your deck is great. Good luck. I hope you make the Mega Draft, and if you do, I'll be watching you and applauding you as you do, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much, sir.
All right, good luck out there, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, cheers.
Jeremy is so awesome, so cool. I've always really enjoyed Jeremy, all the leagues. He not only is he's just like, super smart, super great at Magic, of course. 5-time Pro Tour guy, insane. I didn't know any of that stuff. Insane. But man, he's funny. He's great to talk to, and I just like playing Jeremy. Jeremy's a great time, except for this league. His deck is broken and gross, and I don't want to play him. So please, Jeremy, I can't play you actually in my last game. You've been on the show. Oh, too bad. Too bad, Jeremy. Oh, I really wanted to play you too. Oh, but you came on the show, and I've got this rule right now that I need to play someone who hasn't been on the show, because if they beat me, they can come on. So Jeremy, oh, too bad. Johnny, oh, I can't play Johnny. Oh, no. Can't play Cody. I can't play Sawyer. Oh, no. All these people I can't play. It's so terrible for me. Yes, challenge me, beat me. Win a prize, come on the podcast. And that's it. We're going into week 5. A lot of people are going to get eliminated. A lot more are getting eliminated in week 5. And then we got week 6. And week 6 is... That's how you get into the big dance, is week 6. And boy, week 6, that's always a stressful time. Get ready about it. We're going to talk about it next week. Week 6. Oof. Hope you make it. But if you do, it's a sweaty place to be. And I wish you luck. I wish all of you luck. And I wish that you get to keep a good 7 and that the shuffler is in your favor. And I'll see everybody back here next week. Bye, everybody.